Hello, my name's Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm here to make a very important video talking to you all about why you don't want to fit in. Some of you might start off with like, yeah, thank God that's not me, and some of you might just be on the complete opposite side as to where you just got into spirituality, you have friends around you, and the friends are just not accepting of that. That's the best start, because that means you are so spiritually gifted that you just don't fit in. Now, what if you do fit in, because, let's just cut that out. Remix, switching. I'm basically going to go straight to the point, and this might sound really harsh for me. You don't get to choose both worlds. You don't. Unless you're pretending and putting on a show, you can do that temporarily. It doesn't last. It doesn't last. And yeah, I'm at the beach. So, what do I mean by it doesn't last? You have to understand, two energies cannot inhabit a same space. They just don't. It's oil and water. Spiritual law indicates and states that two polar opposites, they can exist next to each other in certain places, and this is very unofficial spiritual law. I'm not reading directly from a journal, but for example, angels and demons inhabit Earth. They can be next to each other on Earth, but in different levels. So humans can be next to angels and demons on Earth, but when it comes to the heavenly realms, demons can't get into heaven. When it comes to what we know as hell, or Sheol in different pockets of the underworld, and yes, the underworld, because the Bible does not state hell. It states the ground, which that's a whole different topic for a future video. It doesn't say hell like that, okay? You can ask people who do biblical scholar work, but straight into this video, you really don't want to fit in with people who are sheeping. And because I'll notice this. Sometimes I try to act as normal as I can around certain groups of people, but when I'm in a group of people, for example, let's just say, when I walk along the beach and there's a crowd of 30 people, and I'm at this, and sometimes I'll make myself spiritually invisible and people will not really see me. I talked about that before. A necklace of tiger eye and tourmaline from FloridaStoneman.com, or tiger eye and bloodstone, or the custom necklaces that I have on the website, which you guys can get a custom necklace from me. But the thing is, to fit in, I'm going to use my example because I was in a group on the beach, and I was in several different groups on the beach. So if anyone from any of the groups watches, you won't know which group I was in. So I just camouflaged myself. A lot of people actually didn't see me at all. They didn't see the gemstones, etc. And being in the heart of this group of people on the beach, like the actual center of it, and I'm not judging anyone. I can hear people's thoughts as loud as they talk. There were so many, and don't let that spook you out, guys. When you open your clairaudient gifts, it goes from being a surprise to like, okay, this is just how life is. That's actually how you end up hearing your angels. But a whole bunch of people in the group, let me start off just by saying this, in different groups, we're too afraid to speak up and talk. And a lot of these people who are on their life's tracks, that was not their life track. That's the track that someone else wanted for them. That's the track that they saw on TV, or that's the track that they heard a professor say. That's the track that their aunt or uncle who's taking care of them, their grandmother, their grandparents, their mother, their father. That's the track that they basically said, that's the one for you. You have to do this. You have to be a doctor. You have to do this. And the person doesn't want to do anything with being a doctor, anything with being, let's just say they're whatever. And that it had nothing to do with them. Now they're in a group of people and that's the thing, that's exactly what happens. So when it comes to you not being on the right track, you'll attract more things that are not on the right track. For example, you don't want to be a doctor, and like one bird flew over. That's a new beginning for someone who's watching this video, like, okay, this video is confirmation, but that's the exact thing. You have to understand, when you're not on the right track in your life's path, you'll start attracting all these people who are just strangers. You can know each other for your entire time you're in school with them, your entire time you work with them, and it's just like, who are you guys? You're not authentic to yourselves. Like, a lot of people are not authentic to themselves. That's calling out anyone specifically, but certain people will just be living, and sometimes those people don't want to be veterinarian. Sometimes they want to be a veterinarian, but they're doing it Great. No! I was not supposed to be specific. Now my angel's yelling at me. If your ears start ringing, because of my angel's yelling. But but there are several different people in programs. For example, like my path was supposed to be a veterinarian. A lot of people I know were doctors, and they attract all these just people around them who they just disagree with, who they can't share anything with. I'm not gonna say any specific group or anything that was specific to any group I was around today, but a lot of these people were in groups and they just didn't agree with anyone in the group. And all these people, and you see it, you see friends going out sometimes, they're talking about stuff, but the conversations are not actually talking. They're moving their mouth and words are coming out, but no one's really connecting to each other. It's like, I don't want to say lights on, no one's home, but lights on, someone's in the home, and it's not a home that they want to be in, own, or even be around. And they're in a neighborhood of other homes that are in the same position. So a common trend was a whole bunch of people who are off the right track, who are around each other. They're not being authentic to themselves. They're not being authentic to their truths. And you can see it. So, for example, one person, I'm not going to say what the person does or how I know, but you can see this person's meant to do this, but their hands, and all you have to do is look at a specific line on a person's hand to know that person's supposed to be playing music. That person's supposed to be, that's their gifts, versus this person's like on like an executive board there. I mean, there's too many people in these groups for anyone to know who I'm talking about, but this person's on an executive board and their job is to sit in an office all day and night long and that person does not play an instrument, but their life passion was probably to play an instrument. Like maybe they played it when they were young and they got far off track. Maybe they were born into a musical family, etc. And that person, they're just alive. They're living. So what happens when you attract certain crowds around you? And this is by no means judgmental. This is statistically what happens. So these people whole large groups of people, let's just say you're in a class of people and your passion, let's just say you love art. And you're in a class full of people who are talking about calculus 2. You bring up art to most people in that classroom. Some people will be like, oh, okay. Or that's cool. Yeah, I know someone who did art. I had an art. I'm okay, so that's the thing. It's just gonna be like, you're weird now. You're a weirdo. You're an alien. He's calling me weird. It's good to be weird, because guess what? And I shared this in my YouTube shorts. If everyone was doing the same exact thing, then okay, let's just put it like this. If what everyone was doing was working, then everyone would do that. If everyone's doing the exact same thing, then nothing would work, because it's too many people doing the same exact thing. You get what I mean? Good example is when people release a certain video about, oh, this is the best way to be successful. Now everyone's trying to do that, and everyone's trying to do one thing that's not their purpose or truth, and that's actually how a lot of people end up at specific jobs. But when people move themselves closer to the Most High God and they find their passions, the job or whatever, maybe they start being an entrepreneur, maybe they find their line of work, it becomes natural to them, and everything starts falling in path and becomes exciting. And then when you all these different things fall into a path, so let's just say you like being in an office, but you like guitars at the same time. Now, let's just move whatever path you're on right now a little tiny bit closer. So let's just say for a musician, somehow you ask God, because anything you ask God is yours. I hope you know that. As long as it's good and it's true to who you are, it's yours. So let's just say you love guitar, you love music, and you're stuck in like whatever, an office position. Now let's just say you've asked God, and you've assumed that God's answering your prayers, and guess what? An opportunity just opened up for a famous musician, and you get to manage. Look how this works. And this actually, I'm not just making this up, because this happens. I actually know several different people who this has happened to, especially in my family. So a famous musician, and that person likes music, but they don't have anything to do with music, but it's a little closer to their path, and it's more true to them. And guess what? That person starts meeting friends. That person starts meeting people who are aligned with them, people who have the same interests, and that person gets talking. And that person's throat chakra just flowers and blossoms and opens up, and they start tapping into their gifts because they're speaking their truth now. It's like, oh, cool. I can actually talk to people about this. So You ever see those large group of people who are just, and I'm not putting anyone down, but this is just, you can't have all these misalignments and wonder why people are just miserable in life, because these people were, I mean, several of them were filled with anxiety, and their solution to the remedying the anxieties is ignoring it. Ignoring your problems does not always make them go away. It just doesn't. You can press the mute button, but the TV show will still be playing unless you change the TV show, okay? That's why it's called a channel. That's why you're channeling your truth. Oh, people love this because it ties in together. You're literally channeling your truth when you speak your truth. So when you're talking to other people, and now people are starting to find what you're saying interesting and fascinating, and it's just like you're closer to people. And what happens when you're close to people who are kind of on your life's track? For example, that person, when they were at a office position, and that person was at an office position and it had nothing to do with music. So let's just say that person took their office position, moved it closer to something towards music, whatever, and now they're closer to people who love music just because they're in the office position closer to music, and now they're making more contacts, they're making more friends, they're able to talk about what their interests are. Now they're unblocking their crowns. You unblock chakras simply just being on your life's path. And what does that mean? It means finding something that's true to you. It doesn't matter what other people say. If someone says, let's just say you like to sing, and someone's like, that sounds ridiculous, you can't make a living singing. Well, did that person personally pursue a career in singing and tell you that? These people who are giving advice have no position giving advice. Most people, a good 95% of people, this is a very major thing. 95% of people will tell you something they have no business talking to you about. I remember, people will try to lecture me when I've been going to the gym for a long time. Oh, the best way to get six-pack abs. And this person, most people who say this don't have six-pack abs. They've never stepped foot in a gym, or most people have actually they've stepped in a gym a long time ago, and now that person's trying to give you instructions on how to get a six-pack abs when that person's not in a position to get advice. So, let's just say, and here we go on the weirdo example again, because it's good to be a weirdo. I was gonna use a weirdo, but I'm real though. I don't even know who said that lyric, but that just popped into my head. I think it was Lil Wayne. But now you're true to your life's path. Now you're true to what you're doing. So for example, the person who has that person's muscles, and I've heard this before. People who are the best personal trainer, and let's just say what they did was natural, and they got the one just picked up. Let's just say they got into their life's path in a natural route. And now that their muscles are too big. So everyone has an opinion. Opinions are like, everyone has one. But that person's too muscular. They must be doing something. And people evil eye the person and hate on the person who got to where they are naturally, simply because that was their life's path. That was their interests. With the will, there's a way, and that person found a way to be the greatest at what they do. And now people who hate on them will not come near them. The people they attract to them will be to their life path. So for a person who has a six-pack abs and they're the best personal trainer, now they're training people. Now let's just say, and you can be anything you want. You can be successful in anything you do. You guys have to get used to knowing that if God wants you to be at a very specific position, you're gonna make it there. Stop worrying about the hows. Stop worrying about whys. Or you have to feel deserving in your soul, working with certain crystals, working on shadow work, and you like citrine and obsidian, for example, will help align you to the point where you know you're deserving of abundance. So people and I remember when I first started off making bracelets, I've heard people say, oh, everyone does that. You can't make it. You're not going to be successful in that. I'm like, yada, yada, yada. Like, did you ever make a bracelet? Okay, then why are you giving me advice? And then the people who basically talked really, really, really down to me are the people buying, they actually ended up buying necklaces and bracelets from me. They're like, can you make me one? I'm like, I don't hold grudges, so yeah, sure. But those people are in some very interesting positions in life, and they were giving me a position about why not to be on my life's path. Now that person's off their life's path, and they're giving other people advice, and that person's miserable in their lives. So the trend is, what I'm trying to tell you guys is, Stop taking advice from anything but your intuition, your guides, and your higher self. Most importantly, the Most High God will download what you're supposed to be doing. Whatever you like is not weird, unless it's something dark. Okay. But when it's on the path of being good, light, full of truth and right, then you're going to be put on your life's path if you fight for it. So the thing that you guys have to understand is, maybe it's spirituality. Everyone's going to call you weird when you're spiritual. People get scared when you say you're spiritual. Like, oh, this person does voodoo. I seen a movie and this person did voodoo because they like crystals. They have voodoo dolls. Don't talk to them. Okay, get lost. Like, seriously, you don't want someone around. Like, you do not want someone around you who doesn't work on their spirituality like that. And I know a lot of people are like, that's my family member. Introduce it to them slowly. Find ways to introduce it to them, because a lot of people just need help. For people to not connect to their spirituality and to ignore, just flat out suppress their spiritual law and physical law run upon the same exact lines. So you have to understand that for someone to neglect their spiritual, your entire sleep is spiritual. It's physical too. Disclaimer, this is a spiritual video. I'm not teaching you anything physical, but you have to understand we are spirits. And yeah, this hair is rogue. It's like just flying in front of my face. It's like, hello. So we're supposed to make it under the crown. The crown works as headbands too, but if you tuck the hair under the crown, which people will just flat out, and the hair just got in the way of my example, but let me just put it back here. But the thing is, when people are giving advice, they're not always doing it from a place of they've achieved whatever success they've achieved. So if you're spiritual and there's people around you who let's just say if they're your family, help them, work with them through it. Don't be overly like, oh, you're burning sage in their face and just like, versus don't do that. Just be like, oh, for example, I teach about peppermint to people in the gym. I open many people's spirituality in the gym, and I'm like, and these people are a whole bunch of people who face blockages. I'm like, just a little dab of peppermint essential oil on your chest will remove, which is your heart chakra, will remove a whole bunch of stress. They try it. They're like, oh, can I have lessons now? Oh, can you teach me more about this? And I'm like, sure. So then I start teaching them about other essential oils, and like, wow, oh, this one's good for this. This one's good for this. I'm like, it's chakras. You're healing chakras, but people think spiritual means being burning sage and rubbing patchouli all over yourself, but that's not it. So if it's a friend or a family member and they're curious, it means help them gently. If the person flat out is just scared of it and they're fighting it, it means that's their own inner demons. And look inside these people's lives who are giving advice. For all these people who are considered like normal, oh, that's a normal person, these people are miserable. They're having anxiety. They can't get along with their families. And I'm not roasting people, but I have to tell you, these people who are trying to tell you that you're weird or off your life's path, or making you out to be the strange one when you seek healing, because when you seek healing now, like, you're a weird person. A lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with being weird. The thing is, if you were like everyone else, you wouldn't be special. And you're very special, especially when you found this video. This will help a lot of people. This will make a lot of people like, I'm weird. Well, that's the goal. You're not trying to be weird on purpose, but you're unique. You're awake. That's the thing about a spiritual awakening. It's not always going to be fun, but it will be very rewarding when you fight for what's yours. If everyone in an entire room is asleep and you wake up and now you're the only one awake, it feels pretty lonely, doesn't it? Well, God is here to guide you on your journey. You will not be lonely when you connect yourself to the Most High. So you'll feel isolated, but that isolation will help you to meet more people who belong in your path. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Check out FloridaStoneman.com. I've added some new jewelry to the website. This is actually a brand new one. It looks similar to the other one I have on the website, but this one's unique. It actually has it's based off the geometry of the gemstone to make sure it never even ships, because I'll teach more about stone geometry in the future, but this is a longer video. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Check out FloridaStoneman.com. Ciao!